I'd like to call this Planning Commission, Town of Cedar Lake, meeting to order, April 20th, 2022. Please stand for the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, please.
Mr. Carnahan?
Here.
Mr. Foreman?
Present.
Mr. Sharp?
Here.
Ms. Desauer? Present. Mr. Becker?
Here.
Mr. Kapora?
Present.
Mr. Wilkening?
Here.
Mr. Oliphant?
Here.
Mr. Austin?
Present.
Mr. Salatis?
Present.
Ms. Abernathy? Present.
Thank you very much. We'll get right to it. Item 1, March 16th minutes. Does anybody have any questions or concerns, or would anyone like to make a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve the March 16th, 2022 minutes.
I'll
second it.
We have a motion by Mr. Sharp, second by Mr. Kapora. Roll call, please.
Mr. Carnahan?
Yes.
Mr. Foreman?
Yes.
Mr. Sharp?
Yes.
Ms. Desauer? Yes. Mr. Becker?
Yes.
Mr. Kapora?
Yes.
Mr. Wilkening?
Yes. Motion carries. Thank you. Item 2, Starcevic subdivision. Final plat for one-lot subdivision, Tom Starcevic, 5716 North Rockwell, Chicago. The vicinity is 7615 West 142nd Avenue, Cedar Lake. Petitioner is requesting a final plat for a one-lot subdivision. Good evening.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Requesting a final plat for a one-lot subdivision, Tom Starcevic, 5716 North Rockwell, Chicago, Illinois, 60659.
Okay. Don, anything left over here?
We are good with the plat from our March 17th letter, and the engineering waivers are listed on there as item number 1.
Okay. The site lighting, you're talking about adequate lighting for a neighborhood. I don't want that to be confused with nuisance lights for the neighborhood.
No, this would be roadway lighting
Okay.
that you typically see in a larger subdivision.
Okay. All right. Does anybody have any question about the waivers that Christopher is recommending?
No, sorry.
No?
No.
Anyone?
He's got the celebratory song playing.
Right.
I'm ready to get it over the finish
I'm
line.
waiting for the dinosaur to come through the door.
Yeah.
Mr. Austin?
No.
Nothing? Everything's good? Okay. Mr. Slatus? Everything's good?
Appears in order.
Everything appears in order. Okay. All right, then I guess, would someone like to make a motion regarding the Starcevic subdivision final plat?
I'll make a motion to approve the final plat for the one-lot subdivision.
Okay, we have a motion by Heather to approve.
Can you include our March 17th letter waivers?
Yes, this includes the Christopher Burke letter from March 17th regarding the waivers.
Thanks, Don. Thanks, Heather. Anyone like to, you second by Mr. Becker? All right, second by Mr. Becker. Roll call, please.
Mr. Carnahan?
Yes.
Mr. Foreman?
Yes.
Mr. Sharp?
Yes.
Ms. Desauer? Yes. Mr. Becker?
Yes.
Mr. Kapora?
Yes.
Mr. Wilkening?
Yes, motion carries.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Yep.
Thank you for your patience.
Thank you.
He doesn't have any more pages.
Not anymore, no.
He's had to get it done.
Get it done.
Okay, item 3, 141 Partners LLC rezone, Mike Neubauer, 8913 West 142nd Place. Vicinity is 10702 West 142nd Place. Petitioner is requesting a rezone from Ag to B2. Good evening.
Good evening, Russ Posey.
Yes, sir.
Public hearing, legals in order.
Okay,
Ready to go.
all right.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you.
Russ Posey with DVG, 55 Troutline Road, Crumpton, Indiana. Mike could not be here tonight, just him and his family are on a mission trip, so just me. As you stated, yes, it's rezoned from Ag to B2. We presented this, developed it to you a couple times, so obviously it has not changed. The offices in the front, the offices in the front, and all the mini storage buildings throughout the site. And it's a nice transition from the Rose Garden Estates to the railroad, and then obviously the school. So, yeah, we think it's a very nice development, and the B2 should be appropriate for this project.
Okay. Don, do you have any questions at this point, or any concerns?
Nothing
comments?
regarding the rezone.
Okay. All right. Mr. Austin, is this kind of one of those times where we consider the exhibit and the layout, or this is just for the rezone, so we're,
Yes,
okay.
latter,
All right.
latter. This
Okay.
puts it in zoning classification that permits the development to come. I've talked to Russ, they're developing that.
Okay.
You've seen their concept.
All right. I think probably some of these concepts that are presented need to be considered exhibits at some point, so nothing changes along the way, because it's hard to unchange things.
And because this is a public hearing, we gotta ask for remonstrators.
Of course, Bob.
It's not on here, so.
Okay. I appreciate you reminding me about it.
Mr. President.
Okay, yes, sir.
You will note on your record, though, that this petitioner, from the time of introduction through the time period and proceedings for annexation, and now to and through the zoning district classification proceeding, it's been the same. You know what you're getting, it's just a matter of the details, and
Yeah.
Detail engineering and follow.
Okay.
it's been consistent.
Okay. I'm always concerned about the end game,
As you should.
so. Okay, does anybody have any questions for the petitioner?
Well,
Yes, Chuck?
for you, is for favorable recommendation for the town council, or is it?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
yes.
I know it's not,
Recommendation.
oh, I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
I know it's not relevant now, but how many phases did he say he was
Two.
going to do this? Two, okay, thank you.
And that'll be part of the site development engineering plan set.
Got it, thank you.
And I would appreciate that being in the submittal also.
Correct.
So two don't turn into 12.
Correct.
Okay. Mr. Slavis, anything? Nope. Nothing? Any of the commissioners? Anybody?
No, sir.
Everybody's good? Okay. Have a seat real quick,
Absolutely.
Russ, and I'll look for remonstrance. Is there anyone here tonight, Zooming or otherwise, that would like to comment on the 141 Partners LLC, the property at 10702 West 141st Avenue? Any questions, concerns, remonstrance of any kind?
There's nobody
Nobody
online.
there?
Nobody online.
Okay, all right. Remonstrance is closed. Russ, step back up, please.
Thank you.
Anybody have anything else?
No.
Okay, then I would like to solicit a motion for a recommendation, yea or nay, to the council regarding rezone.
I'll make a motion. I'd like to make a favorable recommendation, a motion for a favorable recommendation to town council for the rezone from agricultural to B2.
Thanks, Heather. Do we have a second?
I'll second it.
Second by Mr. Becker. Roll call, please.
Mr. Carnahan?
Yes.
Mr. Foreman?
Yes.
Mr. Sharp?
Yes.
Ms. Deshour?
Yes.
Mr. Becker?
Yes.
Mr. Kapora?
Yes.
Mr. Wilkening?
Yes, motion carries.
Appreciate your time, everybody.
Russ.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Item 4, Cedar Lake United Methodist Church final plat for one lot subdivision. Owner Cedar Lake Methodist Church, 7124 West 137. Petitioner is Richard Henry, 8659 Fillmore Place, Maryville. Vicinity is 7124 West 137 Place, Cedar Lake. Petitioner is requesting the final plat for one lot subdivision. Is there anyone here for item 4?
We just talked to Mr. Pastor Ken. He is unfortunately under the weather. He cannot attend this meeting. I think it was something that just came about today.
He's requesting a deferral?
No, he says if you got any questions, we can call him on the phone and ask him.
Oh, okay.
A different kind of.
All right. I'm not sure,
That's an extra special.
Does
yeah.
that count?
Can
Can we do
we
that?
really do that?
Do you have any questions? Start there.
I mean, do we need him here?
You don't?
we do
Okay.
not. It's not.
Okay.
This is just like, just to work it
Yeah,
out.
I don't have,
This subdivision's been built on.
yeah. Mr. Austin, do you have any questions for Pastor?
No questions for
All right.
Pastor.
Does anybody else have any questions
No.
regarding this item? Okay. All right, Don, you're good?
Almost. We got this middle last week and we're still looking at it. I don't anticipate any large things, but there are some zoning stuff that I think's been left over since the 2018 middle has to be cleaned up. This thing was approved for B1, right?
It's been too long ago, I
Yeah.
don't remember.
Well, you've got zoning notes in here, it says, may be approved in the process of being approved. And then it says that they requested a variance for a 21-foot front yard setback, but they have a variance for a 23-foot setback, which they show, but they're asking for that off of Morse. I guess there's just some clerical issues on the plat that we have right now.
Okay, so your recommendation is we probably should defer this item until you have some more clarity?
Who's the surveyor?
Bill Arden. I mean, they're not major changes by any means. It's just, I think some stuff has been left over since, we did this almost 4 years ago now.
Yeah.
And I think some stuff just wasn't updated and taken off accordingly, like the missing certificate on it and
Maybe,
small stuff, but
maybe Mr. Hart needs
there.
to be reassigned some homework or something.
I mean, it's like I said, it's nothing major.
Yeah, what we're talking
It's something
about,
we have
we're talking
to clean
about setbacks and things like that.
Before Christina left, she did send an email out to staff where she was questioning the interpretations of the variances granted to the BZA and how that should be shown on the plat.
Okay,
That really hasn't been addressed yet, so.
As I say, there's more questions than answers at this point, so.
It's just going back to the original 18 meeting minutes, and then maybe discussing with staff interpretations and if they should be shown a particular way on the plat or not.
Okay.
Mr. President,
Yes, sir.
can Don be given authority or direction to contact Bill Arden and fix this?
I would say,
Yeah.
does anyone in here not wish Don to contact Mr. Hart?
We can fix it at a staff level. It's not really a huge issue.
This is the parcel project will have food pantries on, right?
Yes.
Well, it still needs to be cleaned up, so.
That's my point.
And, what's another month?
It's been 4 years.
Yeah, okay. I don't even like saying that. Okay, would anyone like to,
I'll
make a motion to defer this?
Defer this.
Okay, we have a motion from Mr. Becker for a deferral. Do we have a second? Second by Mrs. Dessauer. Roll call, please.
Mr. Chairman?
Yeah.
Mr. Beck, would you be willing to make it approval contingent upon the plat getting cleaned up?
Hang on. We got a motion and a second. It's time to vote.
You bet,
Okay.
you bet. But usually you ask for questions after a motion and a second, so that was my question.
Okay.
And that's what Mr. Austin suggested.
Two engineers get together, take care of this.
Yeah, I think the engineers can take care of this. There's the,
If you want to go that direction, then amend your motion probably.
Yeah.
well,
Well, or
That's what you want to
change
say,
it
yeah.
in this instance.
okay, Mr. Becker, Mr. Becker, are you interested in amending your motion?
Arden.
Still don't, well, not until we get all the facts, like you said, it's been 4 years.
So, is
Figure
that
what's
yes, is
one-
that yes or no?
No.
Okay. Heather?
I'm with Chuck, though.
Okay, all right. Roll call, please.
Mr. Carnahan?
No.
Mr. Foreman?
No.
Mr. Sharp?
No.
Ms. Dessauer?
Yes.
Mr. Becker?
Yes.
Mr. Kapura?
Yes.
Mr. Wilkening?
Yes. Okay, Don? Get what you can get.
We will work it out.
All right, thank you.
I
Item
guess I
five.
have one question. If we do
Yeah.
end up having a public meeting, a special public meeting, in the 1st of May, would you
I
want
guess
to
we
hear
can
this
do,
then?
huh?
Would you want to hear this at that public meeting, if we have it?
If it's complete?
Yeah.
Certainly.
Okay. Do you need a motion for that? Can we put it on the agenda?
We're going to put it on the agenda, provided all the other requirements.
Okay. We'll make every effort to get it done.
Ashley? Clear? Okay. Item 5, Community State Bank Performance Surety. Acceptance of performance surety of $14,047 for Cedar View. Everybody's, Ms. Roshan, you're good with this?
Yeah, I have looked at this. I've given you a note about it, it's on file.
Okay.
The skinniest letter of credit I've ever seen.
Just a what?
The skinniest letter of credit I've ever seen,
Well, everything about this project has been skinny.
but it works.
I'm
Okay.
drawing a huge blank. Can you remind me what Cedarview is?
Domino's.
Domino's.
Thank you. That's it. Oh, geez, okay.
Pizza joint, now Mexican restaurant in town.
It's not right.
No, it's a.
Not yet. Not yet.
Come on.
Not yet.
Yeah, still.
I heard Copperleaf was moving over there, but what do I know?
Did you?
They're on 41.
For a while. Okay, does anybody have any questions about this, performance surety?
No, sir.
No, sir? No. Dave's good, Don's good? Mr. Sladish, you're good? Okay. Anyone like to make a motion to accept the $14,047 for the surety for performance bond?
So moved.
Okay, we got a motion by Mr. Foreman, we have a second.
Second.
Second by Mr. Sharp. Roll call, please.
Mr. President,
Yes, sir.
I would recommend we add or append to the letter of credit, it's a one-page instrument, the, report or letter of C-bill. Don.
Okay,
I would amend my motion to.
Mr. Foreman's going to amend his motion to include the C-bill correspondence.
I will
Mr. Sharp?
amend mine.
Okay. Amendment done. Roll call, please.
Mr. Carnahan?
Yes.
Mr. Foreman?
Yes.
Mr. Sharp?
Yes.
Ms. Stetser?
Yes.
Mr. Becker?
Yes.
Mr. Kapura?
Yes.
Mr. Wilkins?
Yes. Okay, motion carries. Okay, am I missing something here? Oh, okay, no, nope, got it, got it. Okay, update items, 13212 Wicker Avenue, performance letter of credit expires May 21st. Mr. Austin, where are we at with that?
I don't think we've seen the replacement.
Okay,
We had, I reviewed it and sent, some communication.
Don, you have anything on this?
We are going through as-bills with them now. They're missing some items on it, so
We still have a month.
still have a month, but, yeah.
When's the meeting in May?
May 4th is your work session, May 18th will be your public meeting.
Okay, well, May 18th is not soon enough to draw on this, so,
We'll have maybe a public hearing on the 4th. So
We may have to.
that would be, I think, enough time.
Yeah, May 4th.
good.
But now we have to have a special public meeting.
We're having one anyway, or two.
Yeah.
Go ahead and add that to the agenda, take it off if it needs to go.
We'll coordinate items on it with the developer.
Good.
You actually don't have the final numbers, do you?
I do. Yeah, I mean, we've inspected it twice now. There are some items that we are kind of debating about and have issued a second letter to as-bills, so.
Yeah, I thought he was still working on it last time I was by.
He's actually, I think, sold the parcel.
You don't say.
Yeah.
Oh, well,
Yeah, we closed on it on the 25th of February.
there you have it.
So, I met Tim out there 2 weeks ago, he issued a second letter, and we haven't heard back from him yet.
So that brings me to some questions.
Okay.
Are these the new owner's problems now? Can the new owner get can the new owner?
I would defer to your counsel on that one.
No, no punting the ball. No punting.
We are
Can
coordinating.
he get occupancy without these things being taken care of?
Probably yes. They're minor enough, but they still need to be addressed. And we are coordinating with the original developer, not the current owner.
And they're working on it now, they just cut out for the apron yesterday or the day before,
Okay.
so that I know, and I
Yeah.
talked to Rob yesterday, he was talking to me about the cutout right by the dumpster.
Yep.
And then the arborvitae's, it's whenever Leo's is,
Yeah, so they have items that are not addressed that aren't explicitly part of the letter of credit, but they were explicitly part of the plan approval. So, like their detention basin is well short of the volume it needs to provide. They took some liberties on some of their grading that has changed some of their stormwater drainage, which caused ponding in some of the areas. What Mr. Teal has kind of alluded to is, there's essentially a big giant ponding area in front of their dumpster right now.
Okay, well,
So
glad this
we're
is an
getting
update
through
on it.
some of these issues
okay,
as quick as we can.
all right. Thanks, Don. Let's see, item 2, Hanover Community School Corporation performance letter of credit expires May 24th. Where are we at with that?
That one's going to have to be extended.
Okay,
They haven't finished all of their site improvements yet. Most notably, the biggest part of that letter of credit was the water main extension through the parcel and through their frontages. As far as I know, we haven't received any as-built on that, and I don't think the testing's even occurred yet on it.
okay.
So Chris, you gonna send a letter?
Yeah,
Great.
and they're aware, because they've already been notified once, and they questioned why they need to do a letter of credit as a taxing entity. And
Policy.
policy.
John, you got that one?
Yeah. Okay. You know it.
So,
Like the dress code.
what are we gonna do? Yeah, what are we gonna, all right. Do you anticipate this being, taken care of a week before?
Week
The
before-
24th?
The 24th?
Yeah.
We'll coordinate with Public Works staff, and Don in order to see what we need to do to check off, and I will send a letter to the school requesting the extension if significant progress is not made.
And we may be able to reduce it if they want to go that route. I know that infrastructure, at least most of it's in the ground, I think. It's just a matter of it actually like passing chlorination and all of our tests and getting as-built on it, shows corrected and placed correctly. So that, if it's not done by now, they're gonna be hard pressed to get it done in time.
Okay. All right, anybody have any questions about Hanover?
Is that the middle school area?
I believe so.
Yeah.
Over 41, yep.
Okay. Item 3, MacArthur Elementary School. May 4th is special public meeting. Says timing of the second plat. Is this the newly acquired property?
They're in the audience.
The timing of the second plat, they were requesting, and they could probably say it better, that I believe that the final plat be accepted at the same time as the primary plat, in order for them to be able to meet their own June something deadline.
Brought that forward, desired goal of the May 17th date, so that we could have approval to begin construction, notify the contractors, and anticipate that. A couple of other reminders: the school had already secured the property when we were here last. We have received on Friday in the afternoon comments from Mr. Oliphant and the engineer that reviewed we'll say, like the second iteration of updates. So we appreciated those comments back. We were very proactive, and despite Easter, God forgiven, we got back to you yesterday, and so that was Dropboxed, and we appreciated that ability to do that. So we believe everything has been responsive and everything's in order, and so we are obviously here again tonight because we would very much appreciate the consideration to keep this moving forward to meet that May 17th goal. And we can certainly answer questions. I brought the visual again. I'm assuming you can share it if you needed me to send it to Mr. Oliphant.
All right. Don, you get the feeling this is on track?
We're progressing. We issued a letter on the 15th. The two biggest outstanding items, one would be water-related items. We requested that the water main be extended down 129th. Don and I spoke this afternoon or this morning. It's difficult to do that just because there is sanitary storm, a duct bank in a right-of-way that's already narrowed because of the existing building width. So meeting separation in that corridor would be difficult, at least if not possible. So I'm also still waiting on fire department's official review and then also your utility engineer to see what their thought is on fire protection. And then also a review of the MEP plans for internal sprinkling and how that relates to the water system we have now. So that's one item. Second item would be the widening of Fairbanks. That was a request made by staff to, typical subdivisions in the town. We have to widen the existing roadways to current width. The school has asked a waiver from those requirements, so that would be for your consideration. And then regarding the other comments, we had new comments just regarding some of the new site plan aspects, including the widening of the parking lot on the west side, and items related to that. We did review the PUD docs. We had pretty minor comments on that from an engineering perspective. I don't know about your council, what review he's had to do with that. And then we saw the lighting review complete as well.
Okay, so your thoughts on May 4th special public meeting for this item is feasible?
Well, we will do everything in our power to speed it along as possible. The water is kind of up to staff, utility engineer, and fire department to kind of chirp in on that. And then really the waiver is really up to this plan commission's, policy call if they want to say yea or nay to that. Regarding the other actual engineering items in there, I think we can get through them. I mean, I'm sure Don and his firm will turn stuff over the next chance we get a look at their submittal from today, or yesterday.
Okay, I asked that Friday before May 4th, that these things are in, and ready to go. We can do what we can. I'd like to discuss the waiver for widening Fairbanks. It's obviously not for the school, it's for the neighborhood to the east. Does anybody have any thoughts or comments on that? So it doesn't become.
Neighborhood to the east, you mean the Crystal Oaks? I would like to say.
Any of those neighborhoods to the east.
I have an interesting idea. Since we have all three legs of the stool here, and trying to keep the stool sitting level, we're building a water tower across the street and a little bit to the north, so it'll be super visible coming into town, in towards MacArthur School. What if we created a way, if not now, in the near future, to have on that east side of that water tower, Bulldog Country, home of the Bulldogs, something along those lines. We also have another water tower near Hanover, and, while Cedar Lake is split into two townships, it would be kind of interesting for us to find a way then, through the Hanover schools, to put Wildcats on the west side of that tower. So I don't know what the cost of painting a logo on a water tower is, and I don't know what the cost of a widening of Fairbanks is. However, I think that would be an interesting discussion.
Chris just told me $50,000. For the water tower?
Approximately.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Just to paint a logo?
That's what the town of Cedar Lake's logo will cost for the new, for the tower maintenance contract that we just approved at our last utility.
Wow, that was broken out as that much, okay. So yeah, some food for thought for the future, to promote your
all right.
school club.
So back to the question. John, you got some interesting ideas.
That's what I
And I don't think they're bad ideas most of the time. The waiver for widening Fairbanks, does anybody have any thoughts on that? I don't want anybody standing here in 2 weeks or a month being surprised by.
Desal Lane, Don, primarily?
There is no diesel lane currently in their plans.
Okay.
I don't think so.
Sort of turning.
What's the widening criteria that they?
Generally, roads have to be widened anywhere from like 5 feet to kind of complete our width on one side, plus curb and gutter, and then any kind of stormwater improvements that would be required.
So you're talking about a 5-foot widening?
Approximately.
Does it
Plus
interfere
curb and gutter.
with parking?
No, it wouldn't. There are utilities in that corridor, just like there is in, I think, the entire corridor. I think the duck bank exists under there as well.
Yeah, so
Maybe what we need an expert from the area who really knows where everything's at. There's one there.
I don't know where everything's at.
You don't know what you know.
Yeah.
itself.
So you're saying 129th as well as?
No, 129th
Fairbanks.
improved, it was resurfaced and reconstructed 3 years ago. So
Yeah,
it has
yeah.
storm gutter, stormwater improvements, new road. So that would be.
Mr.
120, yes, sir.
The matter of the widening of the road, Fairbanks, first of all, I do like the creative, out-of-the-box thinking. $50,000 sounds like a NASA.
You're not here all the time, no.
I don't want to encourage Mr. Foreman if that's out of line,
Please don't.
but it sounds like a NASA diamond package painting thing, so I'll paint it for $40,000. But in all seriousness, on the Fairbanks discussion about that and the knowledge we have of the utilities and everything we saw, first of all, you have improved that road already. So widening it simply damages something that's already in really good shape. Second, there was a discussion of fiber and utilities and some of those challenges, and it could potentially be a quagmire. And then what we have done to consider that the fact that the road would be widening is we repositioned at our expense the drive to align with 129th Street, which is do I have the name of the street right? 129th is the...
Avenue.
Yeah, Avenue. So we aligned that, and then I don't think I need to pull up the plan, but the parking lot into the main parking lot is one way. And our traffic engineer who analyzed it said that is a very good way to mitigate the decelling because the cars keep moving in a one-way manner. They're not making a decision by stopping in the parking lot saying, do I go left or right, and then clogging it up back out onto Fairbanks. So it's a continual movement. So everything that could be done was done outside of damaging the road to widen it 5 feet.
Decel and turn lanes, they wouldn't be feasible based on the distances between existing intersections.
Oh, there you go.
Okay.
So we tried to
That was my next question.
Because you only, you wouldn't, southbound would be your only decel lane because it's one way. And that's really close to the relocated intersection, and then the southern entrance is one way out, so, you know.
Okay.
And I mean, you had a couple other questions, and I just feel like because everybody in the room wants to know that a school is safe and secure for its occupants. So with regard to fire marshals, local fire authorities, and those types of things, the water line is for a fire hydrant, but you have excellent fire safety, and the building is fully sprinkled. And so that is the number one, both not only for the occupants, but remember you have first responders going into potentially a burning building, so it saves their lives. And then we meet a state standard for plan release, which is the overlaying building codes and all of those things that architects and professionals have to adhere to. So many times I think there was a request made that we will provide that as soon as it's made available, and preferably before May 4th, if that helps assure the commission.
Okay, John, speaking of sprinklers, you said something about adequate volumes of water for the school addition?
We believe right now there's a 2 or 4 inch surface line into the existing building, I believe.
That's a big difference.
Huh?
That's a big difference.
Well, there were 2 things on the drawing. We'll probably figure that out when we look closer at the MEP plan. And granted, yes, I think when we had our meeting in March that you guys told us that there would be external kind of hookups. So I think fire departments need to look at that. If they're okay with that and that suffices in place of a hydrant, I'll let them speak to that. But yeah, we requested the MEP plan. Millie's engineering is doing
But they don't need, you
They
don't,
are in the Dropbox.
Yeah.
but you don't have to put a fire pump in the building.
Well, the sprinkler system requires a system, so it has the pumps in it.
Oh, it will be a pump in there, okay, all right.
So it augments.
Because those calculations
pressure.
have to be.
And all that's tested before it's approved.
Yeah, and that's all been cycled through to, everybody has seen the Dropbox.
Okay. All right.
The fire department, utility engineer, your water department.
Okay.
They have it.
May I clarify the
Sure.
situation with the utilities?
Sure.
Currently, there are 3 utilities in that, where the curb would be currently.
We're talking about Fairbanks.
Fairbanks,
Yeah.
yes.
It's actually 4.
Well, the main 3 are, I don't know the 4th. There's fiber optic, there is gas, telephone, is that the 3rd? Okay.
And the water.
And the water main, and they're all there. So if the road was widened, those utilities would probably, most of them would have to be moved. So it is quite an issue.
I don't know what a school would do if they didn't have internet service.
I think for 5 feet, it's
And they're putting a sidewalk in already, I just think it's
Well,
not necessary.
I think, is there,
I think there's curbs there presently, Chuck.
No, there's not.
there's curbs there?
There's not curbs there?
They have curbs coming off their kind of approaches to their driveways, but that's it.
Oh, 129th has curbs.
Yeah,
That's right.
129 is totally improved, Fairbanks is not.
So are we gonna get gutters and curbs with this, or no? Are we waiving those?
Is that part of the widening, Don? Is that?
That
we
is
waive-
part of their waiver request. So no improvements, including curb and gutter, stormwater improvements, which go hand in hand with curb and gutter, and then the widening of the pavement itself.
Okay.
And we can't move all the utilities that are in there.
No, but you don't need to move utilities to put a curb in,
Maybe.
Okay.
We have to move them for our Vermillion project right now, because it's right on our curb line. The gas would be right on the curb line.
Well, then I guess, what we need,
Depending on the depth of
what we
it.
need from you is, some, clarification.
Well, it's,
Curb
if the
lane.
gas is deep enough, you can put a gas lane, like a curb on top of the gas, as NIPSCO said, they don't have a problem with it. But if they're concerned, if say it's an old steel line, they'll want to replace it. And if it's shallow, like some mains in town, who knows? But nobody knows how deep it is. Your curb's roughly 18 inches deep with stone. So, yeah.
And for me, I think we need some good solid reasons, that a widening or
I would say-
there's not, I mean, the widening seems logical.
Yeah, it does.
The curb arrangement, I'm not sure yet.
Can you call Julie? Is that what you say, call Julie before you dig?
They will not tell us depth. They will guess at a depth, and they will tell you, well, they may pothole it, but they may not get an actual depth.
What we try and do is, look at all the requirements, and then look at the context of how much of the rest of the street is curbed or those types of things. And then the third thing, to be honest, is tax dollars. We think, okay, this is real money from real citizens. And so when we heard the idea and the desire to change the drive entrance, we thought that's a really good expenditure that had more impact. And so we shifted those dollars over there. And then, again, we certainly understand that there are requirements, but given the context of what's not curbed already and those types of things, and then the discussions of utilities, we just felt like the waiver was a request for moving the drive and spending the tax dollars in that way. So we understand.
You were gonna have a drive there anyway, it just had to be moved.
Well, we were gonna leave the one that was there.
Oh.
But we understand it was slightly offset and
Well,
move it.
a good plan's a good plan.
Thank you.
Okay, does anybody have any other thoughts or concerns, comments on this, curb?
I have no problem waiving it.
Okay, all of it. Good. I think, curbs make, roads last a little longer.
Yeah, I like curbs.
Yeah, I like curbs too.
And we're spending so much money bonding all around town, redoing these subdivisions that were here before the town was a town.
Yeah.
You know, now would be the time to do it.
We did all
If
of
the gas,
that.
I can certainly see though, if the gas line is too shallow, well, if it's old, this might be the time to have it changed out. I don't think that's a very big job.
They would have to coordinate with NIPSCO to determine.
I think what we need is some kind of little, report from you or something, and whatever you can find.
Regarding,
Yeah.
I don't think I'll be able to find out. I'll do my best, but
So we need
NIPSCO's
to,
not
we need
the
to dig?
best,
We need to start digging?
literally or figuratively.
Both. Yes, sir.
May we, you mentioned having information by the Friday before May 4th?
Yeah.
And taking into consideration that placing a curb is going to saw cut the existing paving and then require a patch to put it back in, and that then is what's left with the road. And utilities, may we confer and collaborate with Mr. Oliphant and really just roll up our sleeves and look into it? And
Oh, absolutely.
If we bring it back on the 4th?
Yeah, we're just looking for what's best
Yeah, and so I would
for
like to.
everybody.
I would like to use the additional time you're affording us to make sure that we bring you back
Yeah.
a collective recommendation.
No, I wanted to bring it up because I didn't want anybody at the podium
I like that.
with this,
I like that.
a cow at a new gate. 'Cause I
No,
knew
it's not
that-
my first rodeo.
I knew that would be a,
Yeah.
We redid half of Fairbanks to the north, and then we did the rest of it the following year to the south. And we didn't have the money to put curbs in ourselves. So it seems like we're forcing them to do something that we couldn't do as a town.
well,
Well, that's
it's
Doing it now.
However you wanna look at it.
Hang on a minute, who's counting the money here?
Well, it's a give and take though, right? Because we could require the widening of the road, like
Right.
we would normally, right?
Yeah, and I,
So,
Correct. This is more of you talked about a tax, burden on the taxpayers. This is a shifting of a burden on the taxpayers. Instead of having the Crown Point Community School taxpayers who just did a referendum and have flush with cash, it's now a shifting of that
We didn't do a
responsibility
referendum.
onto the town
exactly.
and the ratepayers of the water utility. And might I add that our water superintendent would really like that water line.
I would like to correct a couple of things. First of all, it's not a referendum,
Correct.
and it is the same taxpayers.
That's correct.
So, and I think that turning, that statement speaks to like a competition of interlocals trying to like go after each other for a zero-sum game.
Yeah,
That's not how
We are trying to work together.
I think it was
The way it was said.
We did a referendum
the way it
to
was said, but, so all I'm asking is, let's collaborate and figure it out.
I think that makes sense.
Just figure out, it's apportionment of dollars, where do they
the
go?
the Hanover referendum is still, alive and well in a lot of people's minds.
Oh, on the other side of the lake, yes,
That's
it is.
where the cross
Yeah.
communication is.
Yeah, that's the west side, this is the east side we're talking.
I like both sides.
I know Gibraltar loves all the sides.
And I like Mr. Wilkie on the east. Okay. All right, thank you. Anything
All right,
else
yeah,
we can-
please dig into this with Don, because,
Yeah.
I think we're gonna need a really good reason not to put curb in there.
When they put some storm drainage in on my side of the road, they hit a gas main and gas was shooting up and took all the leaves off my trees and everything, and I had to evacuate my house.
Is this all about you all the time?
No, I'm just telling you that,
Well, the gas line is everybody's concerned about. I get it.
and then in Lemon Lake Estates, when we paved those roads in there, those gas lines were only a few inches down in the road. Do you remember that, Don? Don, do you remember the gas pipes in Lemon Lake Estates being very narrow in depth?
I do not. That may have been before my
Right,
time.
was it Sandra or was it Don?
Must have been Sandra.
Andrew, I think. They would have done a whole lot next to my time.
So, real quick, in the collaboration, I think we should also look into the extension of a water line, Don, because we just had this with Holy Name, where what we're trying to do in our community is anytime, a little church has a building next to a big church, and they want to extend water just 50 feet to get onto their property, and our policy has always been, no, Mr. Customer, even a church, you've got to take the water line to the end of your property, therefore we can have
So that's fine.
continuity and connect, because we are a new old town, okay? We were never built on a grid system, it was a town that happened in the 30s and 40s and 50s, and so for the last decade or more, we've been trying to right a bunch of wrongs. So if that isn't too extreme, extravagant, I do think that is advantageous, if there's not already hookups on the east side of Fairbanks, to still think about a extension of a water line.
Yeah, I mean, I think the staff stance to that too, is that there's a large open area that's zoned residential to the west that could be easily subdivided in the future.
Yeah,
So, it's not like we're sending it into an older neighborhood that is, that has wells and the likelihood of them tapping onto it is little.
right.
There is a possibility for, expansion.
And/or they give us an easement in lieu of, to gain
The
a
other
water
option,
line from the next person to the west in the future. On the
Yeah.
southern edge or something by the boys club.
I mean, there are other ways to do it. You can run internal water main if we had to, through the property versus the right of way.
Well, we have some questions that we.
So those are things
We like some
We might want to
collaboration.
throw out there
Yeah.
when you guys are communicating with their team.
Familiar with some of those, and
Yeah.
good to,
Yeah, and any information you can give any of us, anytime, Don, please hit send.
Okay. We'll help you. Yep.
Okay, does anybody
Keep
have
the ball
any,
rolling.
does anybody have any
Thank you.
questions for,
Thank you.
the group from MacArthur? Anything? Nothing? Okay.
Nothing, not right now.
I think we're good.
Go Bulldogs.
Yep.
As long as our sign can be bigger on the water tower,
There you
we're
go.
in.
Send the hammer.
Because we're flush with cash.
No.
No, that's not true.
No, the sign,
Okay.
no, the Bulldogs thing is facing east.
Yeah.
There's a sunrise. Yeah.
I love it. You guys had a great week. What's left of it?
Okay. Is there any public comment?
Before you continue, I think there is still one outstanding item. Is the board or commission still comfortable with the timing of the secondary plat, the final plat?
I don't see any reason not to.
Is there's no legal snag or anything?
If there are open items, you can approve conditionally.
Okay.
You can do that.
For any open
Well, yeah, I know we can, but is there gonna be a snag with getting the second plat dialed in?
Don't know. Don't know until you see the first plat.
Final.
And the presentation.
Well, the preliminaries were all the,
Yeah, well,
yeah, the substances, all the guts are.
Okay.
Finals just,
I mean, to be honest, if there's stuff missing on the site plan that we can't approve, you can hold that too. The big thing is preliminary.
Okay, all right.
We can work out site plan issues, as long as they can get going.
Yeah. Yep, okay. All right. Everybody, everybody on the same page. Have a good night.
Call consensus regards.
oh, excellent.
Okay, one more time, any public comment? Anything? All right. Does anybody have any? Nothing? Okay, Mr. Slatus, anything, any update items of any kind?
Just to note that this may be the shortest plan commission meeting I've attended here so far.
Yay, don't get used to it.
Well,
I feel bad for Krista.
There's a,
Her first one was the last one.
there's a formula that I see that, seems to be, somewhat advantageous. And, I will thank you for some of that, Chris, and Ashley also.
We can stretch this out for you.
Yeah, they can.
I was here till 10:30 last night, so,
Yeah, we were.
this is brief.
Yeah, where were you? This is a rarity.
I think, yeah, I don't think, okay.
Otherwise, no update items.
Okay, no update items. Okay, I'm gonna call this meeting done.
Did you?
Thank you.
And,